Okay. Well, hello everyone. I'm Nick Kuhn. I do product marketing and tech marketing at VMware Tanzu. If you don't know who I am, I talk a lot about Cloud Foundry and what we used to call Tanzu Application Service. But we're going to kind of discover how we can get an easy button to run some chatbots with generative AI and Tanzu platform. So just a quick disclaimer, some of the products I'm going to talk about today are still in beta, but hopefully will be generally available shortly. But we'll kind of talk about the journey for a bit. And this is a relatively short session, so I'm going to kind of breeze through some of these slides and just get into some demos. So just a quick overview. Just going to go over what VMware Tanzu is, just for if you don't know, and some basic generative AI concepts. And we're going to deep dive a little on the Tanzu platform, GenAI for Tanzu platform, and just do a little bit of demos and app architectures. So a quick high level, what is VMware Tanzu? I like to say Tanzu is a lot more than just a Kubernetes distribution that's now been renamed to something else. So now we have a Tanzu platform, which is application runtimes based on Cloud Foundry and Kubernetes. We have data services, we have Cloud Health, we have Bitnami, and we're the stewards of the largest Java framework called Spring. And additionally, if we talk about VMware Tanzu platform for Cloud Foundry, formerly known as Tanzu Application Service or Pivotal Cloud Foundry, that's really just, it's a platform as a service that's based on the open source project called Cloud Foundry. It's a great application runtime that a lot of our customers run, at scale, and we're guessing that we're running millions of application instances across the globe through our customer base. And it's really a great application runtime, but it also has a built-in marketplace that you can extend it with different services, like database as a service, messaging as a service, or generative AI as a service. And then the quick kind of philosophy about the platform is really based on this haiku, I think back from 2016 days, where here's my source code, run it on the cloud for me, I don't care how. And it's all about making the developer path easy. They don't want to spend time working on infrastructure or dealing with tickets, and they just really want to focus on getting the code to production in a matter of minutes. And we'll show this live here soon, but we're going to do a CF push. We're going to get some generative AI stuff going as well. But then just a quick terminology, just for a quick set, if you don't know what I'm talking about soon, hopefully you've heard about generative AI or GenAI, things like ChatGPT, but that's really this new type of AI that's really focused on generating text, images, or media. Large language models really power generative AI. Those are kind of the engines behind the scenes. We have concepts called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, and that's really a technique to enhance the large language model's data or viewpoint, because the large language models have what we call training cutoff dates, so then they stop knowing information. And then if you have, obviously, your own information, they're not going to know about that, hopefully. So you want to provide your own internal documents and things like that. And those documents are then typically stored as what we call embeddings in like a vector store, so like maybe like a Postgres database or things of that nature. And if you actually query some of those endpoints, they actually just are a bunch of zeros coming back, but those numerical strings are how the large language models understand that data and go from there. Now, quickly, if we talk about a year ago, right, we heard from a lot of customers that we want to add a chatbot to our website, and developers and central IT teams were, kind of raising an eyebrow and struggling. How are we going to do that safely and securely? Do we have an AI governance team? What models can we run? Can we run open source models? Are we allowed to use the public providers? Lots of questions, right? And then additionally, you may have seen this yourself, but whether you're talking about developers or just general business workers, you might want to use ChatGPT or Copilot at work, but legal or other compliance teams are blocking that wholeheartedly at organizations. Even at VMware and Broadcom, we don't have direct access to ChatGPT. So what if there is a way to enable that for the business, and from the platform team, and make that easy, right? So last year, we ran a hackathon at the Las Vegas VMware Explorer Hackathon. We got first place for our idea. Long Win was kind of the lead engineer on the project, and he had been thinking about how to integrate generative AI in the Cloud Foundry ecosystem for some time, and it all kind of worked out. And lo and behold, we took that hackathon idea, we productized it, we launched the public beta in July. We've been in private beta for some time. Some of those private beta customers are in the audience, but we'll go from there, and we'll be hopefully GA soon. And just to do a quick level set of what the product and platform could do, so we add generative AI or GenAI and Tanzu platform to the Cloud Foundry ecosystem in the marketplace as what we call a tile. I'll show that in a second. But you can configure different models, so via OLLAMA or VLLM, and those are Bosch deployed models. You can also integrate into the NVIDIA Private AI Foundation and use those models, or access like a third-party integration like Sam Altman's OpenAI ChatGPT. Now, what we've seen from benefits is it's a good benefit is obviously having those private access to large language models on platform. It's easy to spin up and deploy, but then you also control that data. You know, there's if you kind of Google it, you can find that someone from a company was taking 6 months of took 6 months of Zoom recording and was just constantly uploading their Zoom recordings to a public service, and then they found out, lo and behold, 6 months in, that data ended up in that public services training set. And if you knew the data, if you knew the public provider and the company name, you could ask it questions about all of those meetings that it summarized for them. So obviously, maybe that's of a concern. And then also, there's been multiple other customers raise concern about private access, or even potentially seeing their competitors' information leak out on some of these public models as well. Just food for thought. And then also, cost savings seemed to be a large factor here, where we also have some customers who may have already built models on these public services, but then they're starting to do the math of how much tokens that these apps at scale are using, and it's starting to become cost prohibitive. So that's another benefit of, we don't charge per token and that type of thing. Now, lo and behold, here do we, okay, yes. So from a developer view, it's kind of small. I'll show that in a little bit larger. But you get this marketplace construct, and you can add models, you can add custom plan names and descriptions, and offer a variety of services to your developer. Additionally, if you haven't seen Cloud Foundry before, it can do things like databases and things like that. So it's an great way for developers to easily access these models. And then just quick high-level overview, right? So we have the Cloud Foundry Foundation, where we have something called Diego, which is actually the app runtime. You push apps to that platform. They could be string apps, they can be Python apps. Tanzu platform is a polyglot application runtime. We're running things like Tanzu AI Server, which is essentially like a sort of a router between some of these models, and it allows us to do things like virtual key management and routing between models and integration into third-party services. So we hand out keys to the developers, but they're not the actual keys to the models themselves. That could be useful for Private AI Foundation or some of these third-party integrations too. We could support GPUs and CPUs. And then, of course, when we start talking about embeddings and some of these data pipelines, it is important to have these services. So we have a whole suite of services like Postgres to do vector embeddings. We'll see that in a second. And then if you have more advanced data use cases like data warehousing, pipelines and things of that nature, we have Gemfire and Greenplum to help out with that too. And then last but not least, we have the architecture, what it would look like with VMware Private AI Foundation. So we can just hook directly up into those deep learning VM workers deployed by Private AI Foundation. If you're lucky enough to have the specs of the Private AI Foundation, these large GPUs, we can wire up to them easily and use that as well, and leave that available to your data scientists for a more traditional deep learning VM type of workload. All right, now let's go into demos. So how do we fix this chatbot issue? How do we make it easy for developers and things like that to get started? Well, first, if you're a Java developer, Spring AI makes it pretty easy. You can just use those libraries and things of that nature and get going pretty quickly. A lot of these frameworks and things kind of change a lot, especially on different languages. So this is where, because we're stewards of the Spring community, we're trying to make it super easy for Java devs to use these services and go from there. But if we talk about the architecture of our first demo application, we're going to deploy an app called Spring Metal. We're going to use the tile. We're going to use some databases. We're going to use 2 different models, one on a GPU and one on a CPU, and we're going to see how it goes from there. So let's break out of slides, if I can. Come on. Okay, so we refresh this really quickly. All right, Spring Metal show. All right, services. So I've already pre-provisioned a Spring Metal DB service right here because it takes a little bit to fire up because it's spin up a whole VM and making it a Postgres database and everything like that. But we're going to add a couple new services here for our app to use. So we're going to do this GenAI model. That's based on a GPU plan. And we're going to call it Spring Metal Chat. So this is going to be our chat model. And we'll fire up an embedding model as well. So we're going to use the Nomic embed text model for that. And we're going to call this Spring Metal embed. And we'll go from there. So those are ready to go. So we have an embedding service and a chat service to use. Let's go ahead and push our application. CF apps. This is connected. All right, yes. All right, so yeah, that should work. CF push. Let's make that bigger. So we have this, well, you can't really see it now. We have a manifest to tell the platform like what to name the application, how much memory, what kind of where the compiled jar is. So I'm taking my Java source code that's compiled, and I'm using a build pack. If you haven't heard of build packs before, it's an easy way for developers to use so that they don't have to build Docker containers and things of that nature. It makes it super simple to get from their source code to production in minutes. And then we also are calling out those services that we just created and tell the platform what to process there. All right, so it is pushing up to the platform. While that happens, let's see if we can check out some of the how it's getting injected into the platform. So while this pushes, we should be able to even check out the environment variables and see how they're consumed. So how does this all work behind the scenes? So we have our variables for the Spring Metal database, and we're seeing things like our Postgres connection string. So it's the way the platform injects credentials and environment variables and things into the system. So your app can have code to read these variables and update on the fly or on a restage. So that's another great benefit of the platform. So we don't have to worry about handling these strings or anything like that. But then for the generative AI use case, we can do the same thing. We can see that we have a URL or API base for our proxy, our Tanzu AI server, and then we have keys and model capabilities based on the name and functionality. So these are all used by the application, and as I'm not changing any code, it can auto pick these up and then load a chatbot and things of that nature. So let's see how this is pushing. Did this work? Maybe it works. I should have done that. Let's see. Okay, so it's up and running, and maybe this is way too zoomed in, but hopefully you can see it. So let's go to this app here. right, so we have this app. Let's ask it a question. Hello. Let's see if this is plumbed up here. This is just your basic string music application that's been around for a while. It's been updated to make use of Spring AI. And we use like the Spring Metal application. You can see that it has this auto binding way, and it's really easy to show, showcase the binding process of the platform. Please give me user comment so I can respond correctly. So the model is up and awake. So let's add an album, or let's see here. What album? VMware Tanzu produce. Right, so we're going to ask it something like that. So my model shouldn't have any questions or knowledge of VMware Tanzu as a music company. It says VMware Tanzu is a software product, not a music artist. So I don't know what you're talking about, right? But let's add an album. Right, okay. And then we're going to sort by review. So we have an album now, and that album was actually saved as an embedding in the Postgres database as well as the actual album. So let's ask the same question again and see what we get. Okay, and then according to the information you provided, VMware Tanzu produced the album I Love TPCF, which was released in 2024. So this is just a really quick way to show how you can push an application and make it really easy for a developer to consume those services, and how that would kind of work. Now I have some more advanced or more interesting demos as well we'll get into, and we've got like 5 or 6 minutes left. So we have this thing called Open Web UI, which has been updated to run on Cloud Foundry as well. But it's a great way to interact with models and test different models and test out embeddings and things. So if you look in workspaces, we can look at documents. So I have 2 documents loaded. So I loaded my schedule for Vegas, which had already passed. So I made a new schedule for Barcelona, and we're going to use that document and kind of do some fun things with it. And we also have a prompt as well, if I can load this. So it says, ooh, that's too much. You are an assistant who needs to help Nick keep track of his VMware Explorer schedule. Please talk in a pirate voice. Please be brief. So that's a way you can kind of do some fun things with these models. And let's see where we can go here. Oh, nope, I don't want to do that. Let's do a new chat. We're going to use GenAI again. I'm going to do a prompt and say, you're an Explorer assistant. And it says, ahoy, matey, what your plans be for VMware Explorer? And then we're getting some, like a map and a parrot emoji. A fun thing about Gemma 2, it likes to use emojis in its responses. And a lot of this, too, is testing different models and see how they perform. But let's see, VMware Explorer Barcelona. What sessions does Nick have on Wednesday? Right. So hopefully now it's going to use that document and provide me what I have on Wednesday. All right. And I have an AMA session and a breakout session, and it's talking like a pirate. So see here, and then on look at Wednesday, we do have 2 sessions, and then I actually have booth duty as well. So it must have thought that's not a session. So we'll either call that the model being smart or the model missing that there. So just to show that this is a live demo. But you can see that the document that it's using to provide the citation. And then one more thing, because I know we're pretty close, I think, on time. So we'll do another fun thing. Lava is a vision to text model. So you can upload images and ask questions about those images. It will respond in text. So let's upload an image. I'm going to do this. And then how many people are in this image? And if we look up here, so shameless plug, I run a podcast every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time called Cloud Foundry Weekly. If you like Cloud Foundry, you should check it out. But I asked the question, how many people are in this image? There are 2 people in this image. If you want to do funner things too, you could ask it like, how many beards are in this image or whose beard is longer, and it starts getting a little inaccurate there. But just to show how that could be used as well, and then maybe in a more real-world use case, like if you're maybe a retailer and like doing like product search, that you could use like a model like this to augment some of your traditional search capabilities, where you can take a picture of a product and it will give back the name of the product, that type of thing. You've probably seen that a lot pop up in some of your like app retailers and things of that nature, where you might even see like this search is powered by AI Assist or something like that. So just some ideas there that could be used. And last but not least, I'll do one more thing, hopefully. All right, so we'll do Command L. So another cool thing is you can use VS Code plugins like continue.dev and have it read your code and like tell you what it's doing, tell you how to write code and things of that nature. So we have the VS Code plugin that's actually talking to one of these models, that same model I've been using, that GenAI to do VS Code things. So I can say, what does this code do? All right, and then it's telling me what is going on, but this would be representing like, hey, you have developers trying to use Copilot, but they're not allowed via corporate policy, or you want to use something to help out other knowledge workers as well. Just different ways to use this and that type of thing. And then one more quick shout out here. Where are my slides? So we'll scroll down to the end here. Quick shout out again, if you want to check out my podcast, we are going to try to record a session here Wednesday live from the show floor. So if you want to join the show, more than happy. But we'll be doing that. I'll be recording with Michael Cote this time, because Nikki, my partner in crime here, couldn't make the show this time. And then if you're interested in this product, we have a QR code that you can sign up to join the design partner program for Tanzu AI Solutions. So thank you for coming, and I'm here for questions. Yeah. All right. I'll be here if you have any more. Thanks.